Welcome back. I know you want to sleep. Your eyes are tired, but your mind keeps talking. Tonight, I'll help you drift off as you walk, first person, through 16 real medieval crimes, so small they could cost you your head. And by the end, you'll know how people quietly survived a world of strange rules. You're in bed, headphones on. Now, imagine you open your eyes in a torchlit street. If you whisper the wrong prayer, if you wear the wrong color, if your bread weighs a little too light, someone will notice. This story will guide you gently through each danger so you can relax, learn, and still fall asleep. I'll show you how ordinary people kept their heads by reading the room, the clothes, the coins, and even the day of the week. If you stay with me, you'll discover the one rule almost everyone breaks without knowing, and the quiet trick they use to stay safe. Before we start, I want you to follow me. I want you to get calm. Breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your jaw unclench. Let your shoulders drop. You're safe here. Keep your head down. Stay close to the wall. We'll move slowly through 16 small mistakes that meant everything, and you'll learn the signs to pass by quietly until sleep finds you. Ready? We begin now. Dawn is pale and cool on your face. You're standing at the edge of a quiet wood, breath fogging in the air, hands tucked into your sleeves for warmth. Your stomach gives a small, empty knock. It's been a thin week. Ahead, the hedgerow opens like a doorway. Beyond it, a small meadow holds its breath. A deer steps out, slow as a thought, ears turning, hooves light as rain on the earth. Its coat is the color of dry bread. It does not know about kings. It only knows the grass. you know about kings. In this place, the woods have rules. Trees and deer belong to someone you will never meet. The wrong stick in your hand becomes a weapon. The wrong animal in your sack becomes a sentence. You don't need to hear the word to know its weight. Still, your belly answers for you. One clean shot, and you could feed your corner of the lane. A quiet fire, a thick stew, sleep without the ache. You check the air, the wind, the path. You remember what people whisper when the door is shut. Never stand where your tracks turn to one clear line. Never carry more string than you need. Always have a reason to be exactly where you are. You look down, in your palm, a walking stick, polished by your hand. Not a bow, not a snare. You set your heel into the mud and twist it as if to test the ground. Anyone passing would see a traveler, not a hunter. The deer lifts its head. You freeze. Your heartbeat seems too loud for the morning. A forester's whistle does not sound. No boots in the brush. Only the small sounds of a world waking up. You could step forward. You could be one person braver and hungrier than the law. But we're here to pass. You turn away from the open grass and take the narrow path that skims the field's edge. Boots find roots, then stones. You place each step where another step has already been. If a forester asks, you are walking to the mill. Your sack holds a bit of bread, a needle and thread, a truth you can show. On a stump by the path, a whitish bracket fungus climbs the bark like a stack of small plates. You touch it, testing the surface. Firm, dry. Your thumb comes away clean. You're not here for that either. Not today. Somewhere behind you, the deer keeps eating, as if the world were simple. You let it be simple too. Rule learned, hunger argues, the law does not. There are other ways to feed a house, ways that leave no mark. You follow the ditch to the lane, where cartwheels chew the mud to the same steady pattern. You step into the pattern. You belong to it for a while. A rooster calls from far off. A door pinches open. Smoke lifts straight up, no wind. Good. Your cloak will hold its own scent. No reason for a dog to get excited about you. As the light grows, you see the village in pieces. First the crooked fence, then the black line of a roof, then a wash of laundry that forgot to dream in. You roll your shoulders, let them drop. No bowstring biting your fingers, no risk rattling in your pocket, just your step, the road, and the day. You pass a marker stone at the lane's elbow. Someone has carved a small cross into it. You touch it without thinking, not for blessing, just to measure your place in the world. Stone, hand, breath. You keep walking. When you reach the mill stream, the smell of wet wood and flour turns the morning kinder. The miller's boy lifts a hand in a tired hello. You lift yours back. The water says what water always says. Keep moving, round and round, until grain turns to bread, until day turns to night. You promise your belly, later. For now, we pass. We choose to be forgettable, a person on a road with a small list of errands and a quiet mind. Later that morning, the market square breathes like a sleeping animal. A quiet lull between carts arriving and stalls shouting. The air smells like damp cloth and crushed time. You move slowly with the crowd, not too fast, not too still. It's the kind of morning where blending in is safer than being interesting. You reach into your satchel and pull out a folded tunic, new, or at least new to you. It was payment. 3 evenings sewing stitches for the baker's son, who swore it would look good on you, who said the color reminded him of things nobles wear. You thought that was a compliment. Maybe it still is. Maybe it shouldn't be. The fabric is soft, hangs well, the kind that sways when you turn. It's not even that bright, just deep, purple, with a thread that glints when the sun hits it wrong. You pull it on over your shift and smooth the hem. And that's when the air changes. It's not loud, no bells, no footsteps, just a feeling, like the square stopped breathing. A stall vendor stops mid-call. Someone looks away too fast. You follow their gaze and see a man across the square. Not a soldier, not a guard. Worse, a clerk, holding a small ledger, the kind of person who knows every rule but never had to follow them. He blinks slowly, writes something in his book, and turns away. You swallow. Your tongue feels dry. You didn't steal the tunic. You didn't ask for it to be this shade. You didn't know purple was for people who owned land and titles. You're not trying to pretend. You're just trying to be warm. But the thread glints again, and now so do the eyes of the woman selling candles. and the boy refilling a cart of onions, and the old man who hasn't spoken to you since your mother passed. The danger isn't that someone will arrest you. It's that someone will remember you, and that memory will cost you something you can't see yet. In this place, fashion is not self-expression, it's self-endangerment. Because if you wear the wrong color, you're not bold, you're suspicious. You look down at the tunic again. It really is a beautiful shade. Royal, someone might say. You pull your cloak tighter, covering most of the cloth. You blend into a group of travelers passing by. Their boots are muddy, their voices dull. You walk as if you're with them. The market square exhales again. The tension unwinds, and you don't feel like a person anymore. You feel like a shadow moving between other shadows. You reach the far side of the square and take the long road back, past the dye shop, past the wool merchant who never meets your eye, past the child spinning in a tunic the color of mud. Smart child. You make it home. You hang the tunic behind your door. Maybe you'll wear it again. Maybe you'll dye it. Maybe it'll stay there for years, folded quiet like a story not told. Rule learned, cloth can cover you or expose you, and the richer the color, the louder the whisper. You light a small candle. The thread glints one last time. You blow it out. Tomorrow you'll wear brown, but tonight you're safe. Let's keep going. There are still more rules and more ways to lose your head over things that cost nothing at all. By midday, the sun is high but gentle, like a warm hand on your shoulder. The square has woken from its slow morning. Barrels roll. Chickens argue. A cart sings with loose nails. Somewhere close, a bell begins to count the hour. One patient note after another, calling people toward the church door. You were planning to pass by without stopping, but there's a crowd at the steps, and the safest person is often the person who looks like everyone else. So you drift toward the shade by the doorway, cloak pulled close, tunic hidden, head bowed just enough. Inside, candles make their own small weather. The air tastes of smoke and stone and old wood. A few phrases rise and fall, words you've heard all your life, words you can say even half asleep. You keep your voice low. Low is safe. It is a simple thing speaking with others. It is also a dangerous thing here. Blasphemy isn't always loud. Sometimes it is the wrong word said at the wrong time, or a sound that sounds like a word to the wrong ear, or a joke that never wanted to be a joke, but turned into one in somebody else's mouth. A woman you know by sight, stiff shoulders, basket always too full, leans near and whispers, "Your mother said this part beautifully." You nod, a memory pressing at your ribs. You shape your lips around a line you've said since you were small. The bell fades. The candles flicker. The words come. On the second line, your tongue slips. It is not a curse. It is only a sound, like a step catching on a stone. But it is different, and different is a bell some people are always waiting to hear. You feel the space around you change by the smallest amount, like the room took a breath in and forgot to let it out. You do not look up. You do not correct yourself fast because quick looks guilty. You finish the line slowly, clearly, with the right shape and the right endings. And you make a choice. You speak less. This is how people keep their heads here. When your mouth wants to hurry, let it slow. When your words want to climb, let them shorten. When a mistake wants to echo, fill the space with something useful. You step aside and slide your basket forward, the one with needles and thread and a small roll of cloth. The priest's helper, the boy with tight. Behind you, the stiff-shouldered woman speaks too loudly to no one in particular. Some people haven't learned their prayers properly, not at you, near you, which is the same thing but costs her nothing. You do not turn. Your face is calm. Your fingers work. You say quietly, shaped like a small bow, "Forgive my clumsy tongue." Not, "I was right," not, "You were wrong," just a soft place for heat to cool down. Words can be water if you let them. You feel the room exhale. The priest nods once without looking at anyone. The helper boy thanks you under his breath for the mended cloth. A thread of danger loosens and you tuck the loose end away in your sleeve. Breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, quietly, only for you. Breathe in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Outside, the square is brighter. 2 children chase a scrap of linen like it's a kite. A dog argues with a cartwheel and loses. The clerk from earlier, the one with the ledger, passes the church door without seeing you. You are smaller than his list today. That is a win. You head for the well and draw a bucket for an old man who always looks surprised to still be alive. He tells you, as if you asked, that last year a traveler used different words for the same prayer and spent a week answering questions. "I'm not sure he answered the right ones," the old man says, but they stopped asking anyway. You nod like a person listening to weather. You practice safer sentences as you walk. Peace, forgive me, I meant no harm, may your day be gentle. None of them are bright, all of them are clean. In the shade of a narrow lane, 2 men correct each other about a saint's feast day. They are both confident. They are both wrong. You pass between them like a draft under a door. It is a funny thing about blasphemy. Sometimes it isn't about the heavens at all. It's about who thinks their mouth is the sky. Your stomach reminds you that being careful is hungry work. You break a small piece of the bread you bought earlier, the proper weight this time, and let it soften on your tongue. You taste flour and near your door a neighbor waits. Gray scarf, tired eyes, hope held like a fragile bowl. A little one has a cough that will not share its secrets. "Do you know any teas? Something gentle?" she asks. You do. Your mother taught you. Chamomile for soft, thyme for clear. a breath of honey for courage. You also know how people talk when the steam becomes a story. We will make the tea. We will make it carefully. We will keep the fire low and the room quieter still. We will be helpful without looking clever. Because healing a cough is kind, and being seen healing it can be dangerous. Come in, lay the basket down. We'll choose the herbs with steady hands. We'll mind the windows and the voices and the names of what we use, and we'll step lightly into the next rule. You're doing well. Breathe. Keep to the small path. When the steam rises, we'll talk about witchcraft and how to help without letting the word stick to your skin. The room is small and kind. Rafters creak like old bones stretching after a nap. On the table, a chipped cup, a kettle, a folded cloth your mother once used for everything. At the door, your neighbor, grey scarf, worry tucked under her arm like laundry that never dries. She doesn't ask for magic. She asks for help. Close, simple. You let her in. You shut the door with 2 quiet thoughts. Keep it ordinary. Keep it visible. The hearth is low. You feed it with twigs, not drama. Water warms, not too fast. You line up what you'll use where anyone can see. Chamomile heads for softing, thyme for clearing, a thumb of honey because sweetness convinces bodies to stay. You say the names out loud, not to the child, but to the room. Flower, leaf, honey. Nothing mysterious lives in those words. The child's breath rattles, then rests. You measure with a spoon that has no secrets. Steam rises in ribbons. You count them in your head, not for breathing, just to slow the world a little. 1 ribbon, another, another. When the cup is warm enough to cup, you pass it to the mother and say, small sips. Let it talk to the chest. You don't hover. You tidy crumbs with the back of your hand, like tidying is medicine. You set the window a thumb's width open, so the street can hear nothing odd, and so the house smells like wood and kitchen, and not like someone doing too much. Outside boots hush past. Voices 2, maybe 3, drag a rumor down the lane like a sack with a hole. You keep your back straight and your work boring. When the woman with the sharp eyes from next door taps the frame and peers in, you greet her before she can greet you. Come sit. Will you taste whether I added too much honey? You pour a clean drop on a spoon. Hold it like a peace offering. She takes it, surprised to be part of something so small. No whispers, no secrets, no reason for a story to grow legs. Saramahano. The mother tries to pay you with a brooch, brass trying very hard to be gold. You put your palm over hers and close her fingers around it. Bread, another day, you say. Coins shine, stories shine with them. Bread goes quiet once it's eaten. Saramahano. You leave by the front, not the back. Let them see you. People trust what they can name. On the step, the boy with the reed from earlier waits again. Thank you, he says, and stares at your bundle of herbs like it might blink. You show him the string, the leaves, the nothing special of it all. He nods, disappointed that safety looks so ordinary. Resting cues. The lane smells of wet stone and cooled ash. A cartwheel ticks over a plank. Tick, tick, tick. Each click smoothing the day's edges. Your pulse answers. Here, here, here. Like a small drum under a blanket. Rule learned. Simple. In a place where a kettle can look like a spell, let everyone see you boil water. Use names they know. Share steps they can repeat. Leave with less light on you than you carried in. Link forward. By evening, 2 more neighbors have heard. Gratitude travels faster than truth. On your table, a few thanks begin to gather. A wedge of cheese, a better cloth, a coin that looks too fine for the hand that gave it. You slide the coin back under the cloth and feel its edges as if they could cut. Success has a sound here. It sounds like someone counting on their fingers while watching your door. Soft smile, guide. We will be careful with praise. We will be careful with shine. Tomorrow we will talk about what happens when a common roof collects uncommon gifts, and how looking too fortunate can turn luck into trouble. Settling. For now, wrap the herbs, damp the hearth. Let your shoulders forget the shape of worry. Outside, a blackbird writes the day's last sentence on the fence. The coin is still under the cloth where you left it, not hidden, just out of the way you tuck a thorn until you find the right fire. Your table is tidied from last night, herb crumbs brushed to the sill, cup upside down to dry, a thread snipped so short it can't start a rumor. A cattail taps the stool, thump, thump, a small metronome for thinking. On the shelf, a wedge of cheese, a better cloth, a small loaf with a neat stamp, gifts, thanks, nothing wicked on their own, but together they shine. Close, practical. Shine draws eyes. Eyes add numbers. Numbers become questions. You take the cheese and cut it into plain slices. Wrap 2 for the widow on the lane, and leave 1 on your own plate. You fold the nice cloth into a narrow strip and stitch it into the inside of your apron, useful, invisible. You move the stamped loaf to a basket and add yesterday's crusts on top, so the story reads household, not good fortune. Small humor, even bread needs a disguise sometimes. Street word. Outside, the lane is busy in a thinking way. A broom whispers over stone. Someone chalks a tally on a doorpost, flower or debt or both. As you pass, the candlemaker lifts his chin. Prosperous morning, he says, the way some people say good luck while counting your steps. You answer like a person with nothing to count. Plain work, plain day. Calm, method. At the chapel box, you drop a slice of the cheese, not to purchase safety, just to divide the beam of attention. At the well, you help lift a bucket 1 notch higher than the old man can manage alone. Work leaves fingerprints that money can't, soft, internal. The coin waits in your mind, even when it's not in your hand. You didn't ask for it. You don't quite want it. But refusing gifts can sound like pride in a place that punishes both pride and poverty, just in different ways. So you carry it to market with the same face you wear when carrying onions. Market drift. Stalls open wider. A boy kicks a hoop. The air tastes like dust and fennel and promises. You keep your cloak plain and your step short. If a clerk with a ledger looks your way, and one does, you want him to see a shape that matches neighbor weather. A woman you half know sidles close enough to smell your soap. You've been busy, she says, smiling with only half her face. You shrug in the key of harmless. Many errands, nothing worth a story. She leans toward your basket and sees the crusts on top. Her smile finishes itself, harmless confirmed. Room tone of worry. Later, the steward from the manor drifts through the square in a coat that creaks when he moves. He reads lists without moving his lips. When he stops near you, the air feels folded. Names, he says to the nearest knot of people, and trades, and any change of means. Change of means is a phrase that feels like a trap wearing shoes. You speak before anyone can point. Needles and mending, same as last year, same as my mother. The steward looks at your hands, plain thread, no ink, then your shoes, patch on patch, then your face, quiet, forgettable. He leaves your name behind and takes his coat elsewhere. Small release. You don't hurry your breath. You let your shoulders think they thought of relaxing on their own. A boy knocks a pail. The sound rings out and comes back gentler. Heat goes out of the square like a sigh through a keyhole. Homeward, counting. Back at your table, you finally draw the coin from under the cloth. It flashes in a way metal shouldn't, then sits there, pretending to be innocent. You set another coin beside it for company. Older, duller, the weight you know from years of small trades. You lift them both. One presses your palm, one doesn't. Quiet alert. Light can mean luck. It can also mean shaved. You remember the guild stall by the scales. Men who can hear a coin lie by the way it lands. You remember the stories that stitch light coins to traders and make both hang heavy. Gentle move. You wrap both pieces in the corner of your apron and tie the knot like you tie a child's shoe. Easy to undo, easy to redo, nothing clever enough to notice. Out the door again, no haste, no theater, just a person with an errand shaped like all the other errands. Soft bridge. At the market edge, the guild master stands by a small scale that talks in tilts and murmurs. He has eyes like measuring cups. The guild master lifts his chin. "Where did you get this?" he asks, voice smooth as a whetstone. You tell him the smallest version of the truth. He nods once, then again, slower. His hand hovers over a drawer you can't see into. Behind you, the square sounds normal. In front of you, weight begins to matter. We'll stand with steady hands. We'll let the scales speak first, and we'll learn what happens when coins are not what they seem. The guildmaster turns the coin between finger and thumb, the way a miller tests flour. Light pinch, small shake, eyes doing the weighing before the scale does. He sets your 2 coins on the brass pan, one after the other. The honest one lands with a round little thud. The other answers in a thinner note, a sound that feels like a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. He doesn't accuse you. Good men in careful jobs rarely start with noise. He reaches for a narrow gauge, a ring with teeth, slides it toward the rim. It stops sooner than it should. The edge looks tidy to anyone who isn't trained to see what's missing. Old trick, he says, voice level. Shave a whisper off the rim of 10 coins, and the cutter has one for himself. He nudges the pan. A kingdom of whispers becomes a shout. You nod once, not clever, not surprised, just learning at the speed of caution. Small actions, he drops the clipped piece into a shallow dish along with other almost coins that failed their test. They make a sound like buttons. He taps the dish, then you, then the scale with a practiced rhythm. 3 points of a triangle that marks responsibility, curiosity, and law. Where'd it come from? Careful truth. From a neighbor, you say, naming her trade, not her name. As thanks, I asked to check it before I spent it. Let the words carry your hands. Empty palms, open basket. nothing sharp hiding. He studies your face the way a ledger studies a number. Does it belong here? Then he lifts his chin and calls to the clerk in the stall next door. Mark a circle around the east row today. Circles mean questions. Questions attract answers you don't always like. He slides the honest coin back. The clipped one stays with him. This piece is the guild's now, he says. If anyone asks, tell them I kept it. His meaning is a door left half open. Let the trouble stop here. Relief small, your shoulders untie themselves by a single knot. You didn't need permission to be innocent, but it helps when someone with scales says it out loud. Street sense, you step aside. The woman behind you pretends to look at nails while pointing her ear at your back. You let the crowd close over your place like water over a footstep at neighbor weather. On the edge of the square, the clerk with the ledger turns a page with the drama of a man who thinks paper should fear him. He doesn't look at you. You choose to be grateful to a page for once. Soft humor. A boy demonstrates a whistle made from willow and gets only air for his effort. Needs a better mouth, the seller says, as if he could loan one. Rule learned, gentle. In a place where weight is trust, show your weights. Let your hands be measured. Let your errands be seen. Let the coin that lied sleep in someone else's drawer. Quiet bridge forward. On your way out, a narrow lane squeezes you past a pair of men arguing about a wheel tax. One bumps your shoulder and mutters a half sorry that is more inconvenience than apology. You nod and make the apology whole on both your behalf and his. Mind your step, you say, even as he wasn't. He looks you up and down, finds nothing to hold, and snorts as if he dropped the argument and needed somewhere to put the rest of it. Behind him, a man in a fine cloak watches the exchange. Not a lord. His fabric says steward. His posture says owner by proxy. You lower your eyes a fraction, the polite angle, not the fearful one, and move to go around. He speaks first. You people always crowd the guild stalls when the rumors start, he says, as if rumors were a market good you chose on purpose. The words are shaped like a smile that steps on your foot. Hold steady. This is the part where tempers write checks that bodies have to cash. Today your purse is light. You stop just far enough away to make space for breath. You lift your chin just enough to show you heard him. Then you choose the sentence that cannot be bitten later. We all value the guild's help, you say, simple as bread. Soft tension. He waits, fishing for the hook you won't give him. When it doesn't come, he laughs like a door closing and turns his good cloth toward a different audience. Small reset. Let your tongue touch the roof of your mouth. Count the heartbeats in your fingertips. Find 5 solid things. Cobble, stall leg, cloak hem, the weight of 1 honest coin, the smell of oil. Your body remembers how to be here instead of there. Quiet exit. You take the long way home again, the one with chickens that escape and forget they wanted to. At the corner, a girl chalks squares for a game and offers you a piece of stone to try your luck. You draw a lopsided box and she declares it perfect because it fits her foot. Let that be your victory. Usefulness judged by the person. You picture the man in the fine cloak. his mouth looking for an edge to draw blood from words. It's a certain kind of power, cheap and dangerous, found in people who carry a title the way others carry a stick. Tomorrow there will be more of them. A steward here, a petty lord there, men who borrow importance and charge interest when they return it. We'll meet one. He will speak as if your silence is consent. He will mistake your calm for an invitation, and will show him how to walk away, praised and still empty-handed. For now, put water on the fire. Let your jaw go slack for a count of 3. Anchor your thoughts to whatever doesn't move. The table scar, the window latch, the way the room holds you without asking questions. We made it through waits and whispers. Next, we'll survive a sharper thing, insulting a noble, not by pride, but by letting pride spend itself and find nothing to buy. The lane above the square narrows into a stone throat before it reaches the manor gate. Someone has chalked notices on a board, tax tallies, a new measure for grain, a request for hands to haul timber after last week's storm. A small cluster waits beneath a faded banner, threadbare color, proud shape. You aren't here for trouble. You're here to return a spool you borrowed from the steward's clerk, a favor paid back before it turns into a story. Close, observant, boot leather scrapes stone behind you. A horse stamps once. The sound runs up the wall and back again. A man in a fine cloak arrives with the air of someone who expects the space to arrange itself. Not a lord, the cloth says money without the patience of old blood. His gaze moves like a quill testing paper. He stops too close. Name, he says, not looking at you yet, as if the word could fetch you. Steady. You give it, clear and unhurried, and add, mending and plain work, before the second question can be shaped. He looks down then, measuring for cracks. Plain, he repeats, as if the syllable might insult him by accident. Small, safe. As your office prefers, you answer. Let him keep the right to define the room. Let your words arrive with their shoes wiped, detail diffusing. A breeze flips the edge of his cloak. The binding stitch has lifted in 2 spots, tiny mouths along the hem. You do not stare. You let your eyes pass over it as if checking the sky for weather. He notices anyway, pride always does. He steps half into your path. People like you, he says, crowd the guild and ask questions they don't understand. It wastes time. There it is, bait cut into bite-sized pieces. Hold the angle. You adjust your basket so it hangs a little lower. Weight toward your hip, hands visible. Your time is valuable, you say, and tilt your head a hair, respect without bend. May I return a spool to your clerk? He considers the word your as if it shines. Which clerk, he asks, though there is only one with spools. You don't answer with a name. Names grow legs. The one who lent it, you say, so your office's weight stays even. So you people, he says again, always underfoot. You give him a place to stand. We try to keep the stones even, you offer. I line steady. Uneven stones trip everyone. The sentence is a mirror he can admire himself in. He chooses to. You step aside before he does, as if the idea to move belonged to him first. The horse shakes its bridle, a bright, unnecessary sound. He turns his shoulder, which is how men like him say you may go when they can't say thank you. Before you pass, you add one last thread to close the seam. I'll leave the spool with your clerk. Balanced tallies keep days quiet. He answers with a breath that wants to be a word and isn't. Then he is busy with someone else's confidence. Press the tip of your tongue to the back of your teeth. Count 4 studs in the gate. Find the cool edge of the spool in your pocket and let the circle remind your palm to stay round, not sharp. At the office slit, you place the spool on the ledge with a scrap of cloth wrapped around it, practical, obvious. The clerk looks grateful in the way tired people do, which is to say mostly with his shoulders. You sign nothing, say nothing that will be read out later. You are a solved line, not a fresh one. In a place where pride hunts for insult, feed it crumbs, not meat. Offer words it can own. Fix the thing that is small and close. Let the rest die of boredom. You leave the gate and take the lower path home, the one that slides along the stream wall where children bounce pebbles and pretend at tolls. The storm's leftover water chews a groove under the masonry. One corner of the bridge slab hangs an inch in the wrong direction. A cart rolls by, and the stone answers with a tired sound, stone complaining to stone. Boy in a red cap jabs the dip with a stick like he's fighting a monster. It'll break, he announces to anyone who agrees. You step onto the bridge and feel the give, the way a tooth gives before it aches. This is how roads tell on us, one small crack at a time, until everyone falls into the same sentence. We'll fix what we can fix. We'll warn who needs warning. We'll learn how a broken path can be read as a broken promise, and how even accidental damage becomes a kind of accusation. Come along. There's a man with the stream runs quick from last week's rain, tasting at the underside of the little bridge, the way a tongue worries a loose tooth. A red-capped boy pokes the dip between 2 flags with a stick and declares himself an engineer. You step onto the span and feel it give, just a whisper, but enough to set every muscle in your foot to listening. A cart rattles toward you, 2 barrels of grain, one driver with a jaw that looks permanently decided. His mule tosses its head. The trace jingles like cheap jewelry. Hold a moment, you call, palms up, so it looks like a request, not a command. He squints at the uneven slab and then at you, as if the gap itself might have hired you to exaggerate. "It's managed worse," he says. "Perhaps," you answer, "but today the stone is tired." He snorts, but he does stop. The mule is wiser than both of you. It stamps, then waits. Kneeling, you slide your walking stick along the joint. Grit sifts down. Beneath the flag, the stream has eaten away some of the bed. Not sabotage, not neglect, just water keeping a diary where no one reads. 2 children arrive with the speed of gossip. You give them jobs before curiosity can turn into pranks. You fetch 3 short branches, not thicker than your wrist. And you run to the mill for a broken board. Tell them it's for the crossing. They'll know what that means. Giving people tasks makes them witnesses. Witnesses are useful when blame goes shopping. The cartman mutters to his mule like it understands economics. "Roads are for carts," he says, louder now, audience found. "True," you say.
Oh God. This is I don't you know I believe it. We're Christy was missing here. Tiny minute. Our nen is tiny singing is it. Hard to the merit isn't. Here didn't right. It exterminary. Mitham Richard Low, Lynch, Barrett, and Nims Swin. RGB thing the bolts was kitchen windows to see you between Gallus Roy and one so Chris hit the song and the whole bit you went in there he's on and sicker and then there into somebody just tagging mine a finger whereas we're sunny and G made up of this hey alright I'm stiff here I'm sort of but I want the one you knit me self to take oh city I know for the other sorry we're rocking to you which is that matter I can't parry is knit into the part of the books because I'm specific I been and sure can and mark the men joke no really is when my fish zing here after the late are especially you're in game so swiftly but it's really you're even almost all the free men sit going nah you never see you wait and people say I'll be here for us just grab on that over ages I did try no again fast now I mean that was meaning shut say but I was logging to it for the use his mother but as kids dolly of the with me but I had no regret there everybody sick they're never in them because it got was work nation I got this disease where at our show with 100 feels this on y'all I didn't just great my hide in the rearings grand frank has a collision as we tell like the gene in the much of these are making errands go editor letting them on step risk from also here from oh no this one I be I told them to go or and they kind of just but I put which I didn't let's keep I didn't need to on GMS names to in research it's fast so I went to the chair but then I did native kid was good I don't get plus set on that security served dollars on them just saying certain
On the second axle, the worst of the sound quiets. The far wheel finds honest stone again. Only then do you let your fingers uncurl. The steward arrives late enough to look like he planned it. Annoyed, "What's this?" he demands, as if the bridge set a trap for him. You show empty hands first, then the makeshift crib, then the plank, each like a sentence that ends in a period, not an exclamation. "Water ate the bed," you say. "We propped it. Needs rubble and a mason." He eyes the cartman, who has suddenly discovered both his hat and the correct angle for humility. Thoughtful. "And if it had failed?" the steward asks, already rehearsing a penalty. "Then we would have had wet grain and a lesson learned expensively," you answer. "But we chose the cheaper lesson." He doesn't smile, but the fine lines at the corners of his mouth stop trying to be knives. Name, he asks. You offer it with mending plain work attached, because labels are armor here. He nods toward the boy in the red cap. And that one? Apprentice to good sense, you say. The boy beams. The steward's pen stays in his sleeve. Mark the spot, he says to a man behind him. Send stone until then half loads. Relieved, half loads, the cartman repeats, pretending it was his idea. Traffic thins. The mule shakes out a breath that smells of river and oats. You guide the red cap to scratch a chalk symbol on the curb, 3 tiny lines like a bird's foot. Your village's quiet way of saying, mind your step. Warnings that travel faster than official notices do more actual saving. The steward goes. The cart goes. The boy returns to dragon slaying with his stick, which is what sticks are for. You sit on the low wall and let your hands be still long enough to return to you. Count the distant sounds that do not want anything. A loom's steady clack, a hen's question, water busy with its old arguments under the vault. Inside that sum, the nerves in your jaw unhook. Your thoughts spread out like laundry on a good wind. Trouble here is not. Someone hums a work tune without the words, which keeps the peace. When the last basket is empty, you rinse your hands in the stream and watch the water take the day's grit without comment. The red cap leans over the wall beside you. Is it fixed forever? He asks. Nothing is, you say, but it's fixed for now, and now is when we cross. He seems satisfied with that kind of truth. A bell far off taps the evening into shape. Lamps bloom along the lane like small moons learning to be moons. You rise, knees protesting in a familiar language, and turn for home. At the village edge, 2 girls practice a wedding song under their breaths, not brave enough yet for a full chorus. They grin when you pass, conspirators in joy. Beside them, an aunt hisses about permissions and papers, and how some bonds are made with ink before they're made with hands. You smile into your collar. Rules have cousins, and some of them attend weddings. Back at your doorway, the plank you used earlier waits by the lintel. You prop it along the wall for tomorrow's masons, tie a bit of twine around the chalk mark so even the inattentive will notice the warning. Inside, your room holds its shape around you. Table scar, window latch, cat curled into a comma. You pour a little water into a cup and drink without ceremony. It tastes like the stream should taste, ordinary and alive. Note for the road tucked where you keep the useful things. When the path fails, be seen mending, not merely present. Give structure a chance to behave by lending it your hands, and make sure the record shows those hands busy. Somewhere, a pair of hearts is planning to tie themselves together with more hope than paperwork, Tomorrow the village will decide whether hope is enough. For tonight, let the floor hold you. Let the rafters keep their quiet. You've crossed what needed crossing. We'll wake to bells, some for worship, some for vows, and we'll walk carefully between them. Not everyone who marries asked the right person first. We'll see what that costs and how to step around the cost without stepping on anyone's joy. The bridge holds. The road remembers its duty. Hands are quiet again. Eyes are off you. We made it through the day without leaving a mark that wants to follow us home. Slip inside. Latch the door the way your fingers always do. Set your basket down. Needle, thread, one honest loaf. The room knows your footsteps. The straw knows your shape. Let your jaw unclench. Let your tongue rest behind your teeth. Let your eyes grow heavy the way lamplight does when no one is watching. You kept your head today, past colors and whispers, past scales and pride, past stones that wanted to fail. You were small when it helped. You were useful when it mattered. That is enough. I'll blow the candle for you. Listen, hearth settles, rafters sigh. Outside, the stream talks to the dark in a language that doesn't need you. Sleep now. I'll keep watch at the door of your dreams. When you return for part 2, we'll start where hearts make trouble, marrying without permission, and all the quiet laws that come after. For tonight, no ledgers, no rules, only rest. Good night. Good night.